Smiling Minds are not-for-profit, and we were established in 2012 with a vision to help every mind thrive. Our mission is to provide accessible, lifelong tools to support healthy minds. Most people will probably know us because of our free mindfulness-based meditation app. Smiling Mind is really for everyone, but at the heart of what we do is a goal to reach and support 5 million young people by 2021. And we do that in two different ways. We do a lot of work in schools, and so that's a big pathway to reaching as many young people as possible. And we also support families to create mindful homes. So what is mindfulness? The concept of mindfulness is actually quite simple. It's the awareness that comes from paying attention to the present moment in a special kind of way. So that's with openness, curiosity, and without judgment. So there's actually two parts to mindfulness. The first is paying attention, and that's being aware of where your mind is, hopefully paying attention to what you're doing right now. And the second part is the way we pay attention. So we want to try and interact with the world and the things that we're doing with curiosity, with openness, and with as little judgment as possible. In this busy life that we all live, it has lots of different impacts, and one of the impacts is on how our body responds to stress. So if you think about how stress works in your body, when you get stressed, it actually releases hormones into your system that can flood your whole nervous system. So if you're living in a constant state of stress, it actually has a really big impact on how you feel physically, and it can impact on your bones and your immune system, but also mentally, because it's actually really tiring to live in a constant state of stress. So we think that it's really important to be able to learn skills to down-regulate the stress response in our physical body so that we are more able to function well and to live a healthy life.
The benefits I've seen from introducing mindfulness into the home with my kids has been that they've been better at concentrating on general tasks, particularly their homework, and I think the interaction and how the kids get along with each other has really benefited from that as well.
Our mental health across the country is actually a big problem as well. We know that 1 in 7 primary school kids and 1 in 4 high school kids will experience a mental illness in any one year. We probably all know someone who's been affected by mental health problems, and for that reason we think it's really important to start early to learn skills that help us protect ourselves against those mental illnesses later in life. Formal mindfulness is what most people would think of when you talk about meditation. So formal meditation is where you sit down, you close your eyes, and you focus on one thing at one time. Often people focus on their breath or their body as the anchor or the focus point. And you can think about formal mindfulness practice or meditation as like brain training or attention training. We like to call it gym for the mind, where you're actually practicing focusing your attention on one thing. If you want to try a formal meditation, there's lots of different options in the Smiling Mind app, and you can start with the adult program so you can actually try one for yourself. Informal mindfulness is where you bring an attitude of mindfulness to everything you do. So if you think about that, it's being curious, it's being open, and it's reducing the amount of judgments that you make with everything you do, and trying to remain focused on one thing at one time. Some examples of informal mindfulness might be when you're helping your kids cook a cake, making sure that you're focused on one thing at a time and not rushing ahead and thinking about the next 10 steps ahead. Or when you're speaking to someone in a conversation, practicing mindfulness then is really important because it helps you focus on what they're saying, not predicting what they're going to say or what you have to do after the conversation finishes. So when we're practicing informal mindfulness, our attention is fully on the present moment, what we're doing right now, rather than thinking about anything in the future or in the past.
So the benefits with Dolly that I've seen from using Smiling Mind is she can really switch off her mind before bed. She's not as wired after school. She can relax when we tuck her into bed after stories and her meditation. And I tend to find she goes to sleep really quickly.
There's an increasing amount of research now that shows that mindfulness has a whole range of different benefits, from reducing stress and anxiety to improving well-being and also helping with sleep, through to our cognition and our thinking. So it helps us think clearer, it helps us problem solve and make decisions, all the way through to how it impacts on our relationships. So we know that people who practice mindfulness actually have better and connected relationships and are more open and accepting of differences in other people. Every school takes a different approach to implementing mindfulness in their school community. What we try and encourage schools to do is to consider how they introduce the concept of mindfulness to the students, and that often takes the form of a formal teaching lesson. So it might be a social and emotional learning session or a wellbeing session where teachers actually introduce the concept of mindfulness to the students. And then we try and support schools to identify key times in the day where they might practice a formal meditation. That might be at transition periods in the day, or it could be at a set time, like a homeroom time, where there's an opportunity for kids to practice mindfulness more formally. What we also encourage schools to do is to think about how they integrate mindfulness in an informal way. So it might be that they bring mindfulness into their art class or their PE class, so that we're encouraging students to think about how they can use mindfulness across everything that they do.
I think it's a good time to do Smiling Minds after playtime because it makes people more focused on their work and more relaxed and calm.
Mindfulness is a skill that we have to practice. So if you can bring mindfulness into the things that you do at home, like cooking a meal or your bedtime story or eating a meal together at night, you'll find that that reinforces your child's learning. The mornings can also be a really busy time where you're getting everyone ready for school, but it's also a great opportunity to bring a sense of mindfulness to the normal things that you do in the morning. So take brushing your teeth, for example. We all do it every morning, but it's a great opportunity to actually bring awareness to how we brush our teeth. And we can do that with our kids. So when we brush our teeth, you actually pay attention to all of the sensations that you have. Mindfulness is a practice and a process. No one is ever perfect at mindfulness, so it's really important to remember that forming a habit takes time. If you want to get started or you're trying to think of new ways to bring mindfulness into your home, have a think about what your routine is. Often the morning can be chaotic and stressful, but it's a really good time to try and bring mindfulness into your home or into your routine. And have a think about how you introduce mindfulness into those two different ways. So formal mindfulness practice or meditation, maybe before bed is a really good time to practice formal meditation, and then informal mindfulness practice. So create that informal mindfulness activity with your kids at least once a week, but hopefully every day if you can.